Well, hello everybody. Larry Young here again with another segment of Living Life with Purity. And today I want to talk about referencing back to something that I tried to tell everybody a few segments ago about what was going to happen with the attacks against Christians and Catholics in particular in this country going through up into the election season and then afterward. It's going to continue. This is a fight that we are in. This is a civil war. This is the Civil War. It's not going to be fought with guns and bombs, except in some areas. I'm sure there's going to be some outbursts and things like that. But this is a war that's going to have to be won with featherstrokes. And in order to win this war, you're going to have to be strong in your own resolve. And you're going to have to know what it is you stand for, what you believe in. And like in the last segment, you're going to have to use the word no an awful lot. And you're going to have to be strong in that, and you can't waffle. So let's just talk about some of the things. I had said a few months back that the attacks were coming this year, and it was going to start with the Easter season, and it did. So let's just talk about what happened over this last week, and especially on their most beloved of holidays there, the Easter, which was yesterday. Last week, Cardinal Gerhard Muller out of Germany issued a statement calling for the excommunication of President Joe Biden. That's kind of strange in the fact that it came from across the sea from Germany. Now, Germany's involved in its own, the German church, the Catholic Church, is involved in its own set of issues right now, and one of those has to do with, I believe it's put-downs by the government for the Catholic Church there, where they have basically a tax, if you will, on their members of the Catholic Church there. Not totally different than what the Catholic policy was in the United States for years and years about a policy of tithing. This was a long-held standard in the Catholic churches, and I think it was kind of drummed out with Vatican II. But the old priests that I had talked to had told me that it was a very, very common situation for them throughout the year to try to go to visit each of the parishioners' homes as part of their annual maintenance of their parish, to go and visit each of the families registered with the parish in their homes so they could see how they were living and just get a feel for these people in their own environments. And part of their call that they'd have to do is to try to encourage them to meet the standard that the parishes had for the tithing. And you used to see when you would go by old parishes, you would say, "We are a tithing parish." And that had to be explained to a lot of people. But what it mainly said is these people had enough love and encouragement by their pastor to help build their own parishes, their schools, and their own support systems and things like this to help them out in their walk of faith, that they were willing to commit a tenth of their earnings to that project. And it was a good thing, and it kind of moved these communities forward, but it died off, I believe, in the late 60s. And I haven't seen these signs ever since. They all just kind of disappeared. But times change, things move on, but what we have to do is not throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. And I think that's what's happened in a lot of situations around. But so much for the German church. But why was it that Cardinal Muller is weighing in on U.S. situation, excommunicating of a U.S. president? Well, there's two reasons I can think of. One is he kind of wanted to bolster his own situation in Germany to say, hey, we're about the entire world, not just here in Germany, that we're trying to keep things under control and in a right light. The other possibility was he wanted to kind of stick his finger in the eye of the U.S. cardinals and bishops and the U.S. CCB for not taking action. He's right. This is a job for the USCCB to be taking care of our politicians and especially our president when 3,000 babies, people, are being exterminated every day. 3,000 people. That's a lot. So why isn't the USCCB taking action in their own backyard? Why is this foreign cardinal weighing in with such force? Why was it not echoed on TV the other day with Wilton Gregory in Washington when he was asked basically about this situation in a kind way? And he sort of deflected and he says, well, he wanted to call Biden a cafeteria Catholic. Well, that don't count. You can't give the man a pass. He should have come out and said that the USCCB needs to vote as a complete and unanimous vote on this. Let's excommunicate the man. Let's get him the guidance that he needs, and let's have him reform himself before it's too late. This is the job that we're supposed to be doing as Catholics for another man who's sitting there calling himself a Catholic. Now, if you want to be a cafeteria Catholic and that's your thing, I got to tell you, you're not a Catholic. You got to eat all the vegetables on your plate. This isn't a situation that you can say, well, I don't like that, so I'm not going to have any of that. Well, it all goes together. If you don't want to be a Catholic, you know what? There's at least 3 doors to every church that you can go out of. So just saying. But hopefully you don't. Hopefully you change your ways, you change your voting pattern, you change your leadership model, and you get on board with what God is asking of us. You know, if it wasn't the USCCB can get their poop in a group fast enough to do something, why isn't Archbishop Gregory shutting him down there in D.C. and allowing him to go to communion? Is anyone asking, is this man, taking care of all the rest of the sacraments? It's really none of our business, but until somebody asks that, then it's just becoming this cafeteria Catholic thing. Why isn't Cardinal Dolan saying anything? Well, I spoke about this in the last segment. They become politicians, and we can't have politicians running our Catholic Church here in North America or anywhere around the world. Either you're going to stand for something or you're going to lay down for anything. So let's figure out what we're doing and why we're doing it, and let's get behind these bishops and cardinals and everyone, and let's let them know how we feel about this and what we expect of them. Because, Joe Biden is all about the brand, but when he sits there and wants to call himself a Catholic, what he's doing, he's diminishing the brand for all of the rest of us. And that carries forward into the rest of our communities with our Protestant brothers who are looking at us with, a proper light and saying, why aren't you doing something? You have this as a rule. Why aren't you enforcing it? We enforce rules. Why aren't you? It's a good question. It needs to be answered, and I don't have the answer for that, but I'd like to hear these people come out with one. So I invite the discussion. So let's have it. I had also said a few months ago, I want to get back to that Easter would be the trigger point, that they were going to come after Christians and Catholics in particular. So this all did start, and over the weekend, ex-President Trump started helping to promote the sales of a patriotic Bible, along with Lee Greenwood, the man who brought us the great patriotic song, God Bless the USA. And I had talked with other folks about doing a patriotic Bible years ago. I would still like to look at doing a patriotic Bible, and I would like to include in it a number of other things that we could try to address in that same volume so that people could carry writings and information with them wherever they go as a point of reference so they can see how this all fits together. Now, remember, this country, the United States, is special in the eyes of the Holy Spirit. And it's a reason why the Immaculate Conception was at the beginning and has carried all the way through the development of this country. As our early settlers moved through this new continent way back when, they always installed the Immaculate Conception first. So as sort of a buttress and a defense against evil that might befall them on the way as they made their way across this great continent and helping to bring it together. And we talked about how the Immaculate Conception moved all the way through from Canada, all the way down through Baltimore, came across the waterways, up through the Midwest, and then sort of settled in the Northeast Indiana area where we are right now and where Our Lady of America emanates from here in Rome City, Indiana. So it's very, very important to the DNA of how this country was founded, what the purposeful intent was of our Lord and his mother in trying to help establish his country for a unique purpose. We always talk about it's our great experiment. I think it's their last-ditch effort to try to make something great for this community of people on earth that has kind of been turned this way, that way over the centuries, but we need to get it all focused back in. And that's why Our Lady is counting on the purity of our children to lead the world by the purity of their lives. And this is going to happen by them making a great example and setting a great example for the rest of the world and not buying into this crazy rhetoric that's going on all around us right now. So I talked before about the meaning of words and why they're important. It's also with the use of these words, a lot of people use the wrong words many times, or they've adulterated the use of the word and what it means. And what we need to know and follow in on and dial in on is what is their purposeful intent? What is their intention in why they're using these words and saying what they're saying? So we need to ask those and not get so confrontational about the word, because a lot of times these people don't know what it is that they're talking about to begin with. They're just picking up on somebody else's catchphrase and they're running with it. From the river to the sea was one of those things. Nobody knew what they were talking about. It just was handy to say, and they thought really cool in doing it and thought it was a great opportunity to light the world on fire. Anyway, the world's having a temper tantrum, and we need to be strong in our resolve and making sure that we do not fall into that and that you are ready to say no when these things come at you. Now, with Trump helping to sell these Bibles, from Lee Greenwood and those, a lot of people have come on the attack for Mr. Trump, saying he's not a Catholic, never read the Bible, all these things, that these people can't have any idea what they're talking about. Now, I had it on good authority from somebody who does know about these things, that while President Trump was in the White House, there was a Jesuit priest that would visit the White House every Sunday or weekend and would stay there for about 2 hours before leaving. This is a regular pattern. My presumption is that Mrs. Trump, Melania, was being delivered Holy Mass. Hopefully Barron was a part of that. I'm told that President Trump would go to these things many times also in union with his wife. It's a good thing. It's not talked about because it's not their style, and it would have caused more attack and umbrage in the community at large. I'm certain of it, because they're still looking for anything to attack this man and anyone else who supports an ideology of trying to make our world, and starting with our own country, great again. We've lost an awful lot in our step. Right now, over 70% of our budget is going to entitlement programs. 70% is going to people just getting money, a lot of times for doing nothing. And this is not good. This is not good on any level. We have to work at fixing this, and we have to be adamant about this and saying, no, if you need help, if you need charity, charity exists. Let's take care of it in that way. But let's not put this on everybody to take care of those who refuse to work and refuse to contribute to the betterment of their world and everything around them each day. You got to do it on a daily basis. Try to leave the world better each day in some way. So they've gone after President Trump, saying he's using it as a tool that he's not worthy of even holding in his hand. that's pretty strong stuff to put against anybody, but it's typical of the tactic that's being used. They're trying to inflate things. They're trying to get people like you and me and just anyone who's just indiscriminate person on the street upset about things and making them believe something that just isn't true. And so we have to be careful about this. We have to stay solemn in our regard, but we don't need to be quiet. We do not need to be quiet, and we need to speak up, and we need to activate our priests and bishops. And another thing that happened with the Bibles this weekend is down in Tennessee, somebody pulled up with an open trailer full of Bibles out in front of a church down there and decided to light it on fire because they didn't say why, but I'm sure it was an aggressive act. I get concerns here. I get people claiming that they're Antifa, coming after me all the time. They've been pretty upset with even this content on the websites, on the YouTubes. They haven't seen anything yet. We're just beginning. So you stay with us here. Now, the most hideous of things happened at the White House yesterday with the Trans Day of, what do they want to call it, of visibility. Well, I think we can all see when there's a trans person in our midst. They're pretty visible. But this president, he spends more time celebrating the trans activists and pushing for more anger and confusion in our country. This was an intentional move on their part yesterday. They may say, well, it just fell on the day that we always did it. No, they knew what they were doing. This was intentional. It's not pure. It's not pure at all. They're looking to try to insult Christians at all levels, Catholics in particular, because all these people out here are saying, he's such a good Catholic, he's such a good Catholic, he's such a good Catholic. These people don't even know what it is. And Mr. Biden apparently doesn't know either because he hasn't been informed correctly. So we have to do something about this. We have to be on guard. You have to take this last weekend as the indicator for what it is. The Civil War has started. The Civil War has started. It's been going on, but it really got determined here this last weekend. It's not going to be nice. It's going to get worse. It's going to get really bad this summer. Be prepared. Make sure you know what you're doing and where you're going, and make sure you've got your plans made and everything's taken care of, because ISIS is on these shores. We've got other terrorist organizations are forming here. They're getting their poop in a group. Something's going to happen. It's not going to be good, but when it does happen, we have to acknowledge it for what it is. It's these attacks. The devil is in our midst. Now, there was an old story that Fulton Sheen used to talk about, and it was about a man who went to church one day, and he was feeling bad about his life and what he'd done, and he was feeling remorseful. He wanted to go to confession. He wanted to receive communion. He wanted to cleanse himself. He wanted to start over. So he went to the church, and nobody was there. And the sacristan came out and was, cleaning things up. And the gentleman asked the sacristan, says, "Where's the priest today? I want to go to confession. I want to, attend mass." And the priest or the sacristan says, "Well, the priest is out. He's out protesting today. He's out with another group. They're protesting." And so the man said to himself, "Well, I'll stay here and I'll wait. The priest has to come back." Well, the man waited around, the better part of the day, and the priest never returned. And so the sacristan came back in and saw this man was still there. He says, "You're still here?" He says, "Yes, I'm still waiting for the priest to come back." He says, where's the priest? Why isn't he here? What's going on? I'm here. I'm in need. Why isn't he here to help me? The sacristan looked at him and said, I can't answer that for you. I think you need to ask someone who is at a higher pay grade. I think you need to ask God. So the man took that and he sat back down in the pew and he started praying. He prayed to God and he says, God, my Father, he says, why is there not a priest here? Why is he not here to take care of me when I need him? And he says, I need to know. And with that, the Lord sent him an angel. And the angel came to this man in this church, and the man asked the angel, says, where is the priest? Why isn't he here? What has happened? Who's in charge? He's asking. Who's in charge? The angel looked at him. He said, the devil's in charge. And he's doing a damn good job. Now, that's where we're at right now in this world. Too many people have yielded their position and their authority in this, and the devil is taking full advantage of it. So it's like you see with the basketball that's going on right now. If somebody is out dribbling out around the perimeter, and I'm using basketball jargon here, and then all of a sudden they get an opening and they drive the lane, they get a clear shot at the basket, the devil's going to do that too. If you give him a clear lane, he's going to take it. He's going to abuse it. He's going to charge you, and he ain't going to get called for a foul these days. I hate to use that example there when we got our basketball finals coming up next weekend, and everyone's brackets are all busted up right now with Duke losing. But here's where we're at, folks. You have to stay close with your sacraments. You have to make sure that locally your parish is on track and isn't falling into this trap. We have to make sure, and we have to contact our bishops and the USCCB and anyone you can. If you've got time, send them a letter, make a phone call, whatever you got to do. You have to start, and we have to get vocal about this, because by being the silent partner in the room, nobody's going to give a damn but us. So please do something and think about this, pray on this, and let's see where this goes, because it's not going to go in a good direction unless we stop it. You have to say no. So let's stay together on this. Please comment. I need the comments. We also need your help in this. We're trying to enlarge things. I want to get more voices involved in here, but all these things cost money, so I can do the remotes and things like that with other potential voices on this. Let's do the work. Let's stay on this. But I need your help on this. So please, hit me up at heyolaman@gmail.com. I want to know your comments, and I want you to comment on these videos. I need you to share them. I need you to like them, and I need you to subscribe, because it matters everything to how it comes up in the search data when people are looking for content like this. It all starts with your votes at the terminal there as you're dialing up these videos. So please do that and help us out. We're going to get through this. So stay on it, stay together. Remember, I love you, and I'll be back.